Audible? Yes, am I still audible? Right. Okay. So very good evening to all of you. My name is Orzuma. I work with Jamboree. I extensively counsel students, whether it's about their exams or about their career options. So I have been doing this since 2007. So let's just say that I am not even half as young as you guys are. So before we start, so how many of you are Jamboree students? Anybody is anybody attending Jamboree? Okay, so some of you are Jamboree students, right? All right, great. So where are you guys from? So Jashandeep, what is your, where are you currently located? Jashandeep, Dhananjay, Avnish, Ishan, Anurag, Amit, Mohak, Ashu. So where are you guys from? Can you just type in your, okay, so Ishan and Anurag. Ishan is from Noida, Anurag is from New Delhi, Dhananjay is from Pune, Avnish is from Delhi. Okay, so we have got somebody from Kathmandu. Okay, Amit. What about the rest of you? Where are you guys from? Okay. Right. So I have a question to ask you guys. What do people usually do after their bachelor's degree? So you usually have a lot of friends and relatives, So what do you think they do after their bachelor's degree? So during this session, we'll just use your chat feature to answer the questions or to post your questions. And after the session, we'll have about 15-20 minutes where I'll take your doubts. So just keep, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, please keep writing them somewhere. And at the end of the session, we'll spend some time on those. Okay, so Nurag says that you apply for jobs, you go for master. So what about the rest of you? What do people do after completing their bachelor's degree? First is, of course, their work, right? So that's one option, that you can work. You can, So now what kind of work, right? So you can do a job. Next is, you can do entrepreneurship. You can start your own company. You can like join your family business. Now, job, there are numerous ways of getting it. If you are lucky, you can get a job through your campus placement, right? If for some reason you were not able to get a job through campus placement, then you have to do self-search. So you have to search on your own. And while self-searching, networking is the most important tool that's the tool that works most. If you have not been able to get a job during your during your bachelor's degree through campus placement, then it becomes slightly difficult to get a job as a fresher. In that case, the networking helps. Networking is nothing. It just simply means that you are referred to different companies by your seniors or relatives maybe. So the first level of interview is arranged for through your contacts. So networking helps a lot. Lot of students, they also use employment portals. Now, what do I mean by employment portals? They, like Naukri.com, Monster.com, all these websites which host a lot of employers like us. So they are called employment portals. So One option is definitely work, and now there are different things, different types of work that you can do obviously. Then the next option, as some of you have pointed out, is to study further. Okay? So now, what do you study further? You can do your master's, as one of you have stated, yes, you can go ahead and do your master's. You can also do an MBA, right? You can write after a bachelor's degree, you can do an MBA. Now, once you've decided whether to do a master's or an MBA, then the question is, should you be studying in India or abroad? And that's when counselors like us come in, to help you make the decision about whether you should be pursuing your higher studies in India or abroad. Right? Any questions till now? So, what about you guys? How many of you want to work directly after your bachelor's degree, or how many of you want to go for higher studies? And is there anyone who is not sure? Okay, so you will probably see a poll on your screen. Just vote on it so that we get to know. Okay. So it seems most of you want to study further, and there are a couple of you who want to work, and some of you are not decided. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. It's okay. Actually, at this age, it's perfectly fine to be not sure of what you want to do. So Anurag, you are saying that get work experience, then go for masters. Okay, so immediately after your bachelor's degree, you do plan to work, right? Now you may be wondering, or some people usually wonder, that why do people want to study abroad? I mean, why not study in India? We have got great institutes like IITs or IIMs. Even then, quite a few people go abroad for their master's degree. Whereas MBA or MS, quite a lot of Indian students go abroad. Now there are some distinct reasons, distinct advantages of wanting to do your master's degree abroad. The first thing, of course, is the quality of education. The professors are excellent. In fact, many universities have Nobel Prize winners as professors. So in India, do we have any Nobel Prize winner as a professor in any university? The answer is a clear no. That no, in India we do not have that. But in the US, if you look at the data, I mean, currently there are 7 to 8 Nobel Prize winners teaching in Stanford University, 6 teaching in Chicago, and there are 4 or 5 teaching in MIT. So there are a lot of Nobel Prize winners currently teaching in universities, and I don't just mean this MIT, Stanford, Chicago. So in average colleges also there are Nobel Prize winners as professors. So though the people who want good quality education, or some of you, if you are interested in research, then what better is it, than doing research or doing your thesis, under a professor who had won the Nobel Prize, right? The US or even some other countries also, they have very extensive research labs, very well invented, state of the art, extensive research labs. Technology wise, they are far ahead. In terms of accessibility for students also, they are very good. What that means is that in Indian universities, like some of the top universities, they have all the equipment and all, but they are not like accessible to their own students. The professors probably they use those equipment to some extent, but they are not accessible to the students, right? Now another thing is that they have got great internship options. So while you are doing your masters, you can students end up getting very good internship options. And the advantage of these internship options is that if you do well during the internship, you end up getting a job in that company itself. So your employability increases a lot. So these are some, I mean, of the reasons why more and more students nowadays, they consider going abroad for their higher education. Another very interesting thing is the competition, right? So these are just some data, okay? So these are some just a couple of year-old data. So in India, close to 2 lakh students took CAT, competing for about 3,500 seats, right? On the other hand, in outside India, Harvard takes 900 students, INSEAD takes 900 students, Wharton takes 800 students. So these together, if you add up, they come to around, greater than 2,600, right? So basically the seat availability, and these are only 3 universities. There are like more than 200 top universities, good quality universities abroad. And because of the number of seats available, the competition actually, actually ends up being easier. Moreover, in India, to get into a good college, there is just one entrance test. So if you want to do your masters in, you want to do your MTech, you have to take the GATE. That's it, right? Whether you have got good extracurricular activities or all of that don't count at all. Similarly, if you want to get into an IIM, you have to give that one exam, CAT. You crack it, you are in. You don't crack it, you are not in. Doesn't really matter how brilliant a student you were during your bachelor's degree. All of that, all of that is not taken into account. So in India, at the master's level, similar to your bachelor's level, of course, the entrance procedure is still very focused on one exam. What if you fall sick during that time? Then you end up losing a year. What if there is some emergency in your family? Or there is anything, and so you end up losing a year. So, however, outside India, that's not the case. So these are some of the reasons, competition plus the fact that the entrance procedure still the entrance procedure revolves around just one exam. Because of these reasons, more and more students they prefer going abroad. In fact, we have seen in Jamboree, we have seen that there are students who have not been able to get through CAT, but they have got admission for MBA in Ivy League universities such as Cornell, Columbia, etc. We have also seen that in students who have not done well in their GATE exam, they didn't get a good percentile, so they did not get admission in IIT Bangalore or IITs. They did not get there, but they got admission in the top 20 US universities. So the competition here is very tough. Plus everything revolves around one entrance exam. Right. So anybody has any questions till now? So these are just some reasons that our students tell us why they want to go abroad. This is just a compilation of basically what they feel, what the reasons they feel they should be studying abroad. Now, when we say abroad, abroad is a very wide, very huge term. So when I say abroad, what do you mean by abroad? Study abroad. So what's the meaning of abroad? So technically, abroad means any country that is not India. So any country that is not your home country, technically that is abroad. So does that mean that you go to do your masters in Sri Lanka, or you go to do your masters in Nigeria? Of course you don't. So abroad, though technically it means any country other than your home country, but for very practical reasons, when we say study abroad, so our choices are limited to a few countries, which is good news. The topmost is US. Right, so that is where most of the Indian students go to. Then UK and the rest of Europe, so Germany, so that Ireland, UK. So these are some of the countries, other countries that students go to. However, the economic situation in Europe, as probably all of you know by now, that because of Britain. UK exiting the European Union, so the entire economy is kind of like a question mark right now, and we would not probably be promoting UK or Europe education for some time. The reason is that the master's degrees in UK and Europe are for 1 year, so during 1 year the economic situation may not, may not become better. However, in US or Canada, the master's degree are for 2 years. So even if the economy is not good, they still hope that it will probably pick up after 2 years. But within a 1 year period, it's extremely difficult to maintain good grades while looking for jobs. So right now, probably for the next couple of years, UK and Europe probably will not be such good destinations. Then there is Canada. So once upon a time, a lot of people used to go to Canada, but over the past couple of years, what we have seen that getting a visa has become slightly more difficult, and that's the reason that like students are not opting for Canada as much. But serious students, they don't have any problem obviously, but in getting visas. But otherwise, the visa situation has become slightly trickier. Same thing with Australia. In Australia, serious students who want to study and not just go and settle there. For serious students, the education options in Australia are not that interesting. There are not that many good engineering colleges or good MBA colleges. So people who want to just go abroad and settle down, for them Australia is a great option, because getting a PR and all of that is extremely easy in Australia. However, for students looking at serious studying, so for them Australia, let me just say that they have better options in other countries. New Zealand actually has even lesser number of colleges and lesser number of options than Australia. However, both Australia and New Zealand are great options for people looking at careers in hospitality. So, if you in hotel management hospitality industry is the best in Australia and New Zealand. So any of you, if you are looking at a career in hospitality, then Australia and New Zealand will provide you with far better options. Then Asia. By Asia, I mean Singapore, Hong Kong. So these are some up and coming destinations. So Singapore, there are a couple of good universities. That similar is the case in Hong Kong. But the problem is that there are only a few good universities. So in Singapore, you have got NUS, that is National University of Singapore, Nanyang Technological University, and Singapore Management University. So just 3 universities, 3 good universities I mean. And Hong Kong has again 2-3 good universities. These are also very cheap universities, by the way. So the cost of studying in Singapore and Hong Kong is, is quite cheap. As a result, they are far more competitive, than the US or UK universities. In fact, we see situations where students get admission in the top universities of UK and US, but they are not able to get admission in Singapore colleges. Moreover, the Asian students, except China of course, the rest of the Asian students, they prefer going to the institutes in Singapore and Hong Kong because they are located closer to their homes, of course. Now, when you look at these education options, these countries, what's the one common thing? What is the one common thing among all these countries? Yes? What do you think is the one common thing? Yes, can you all hear me? Russia, has some of the best science institutes, or even France and Germany, but they don't feature that prominently in their list. So Japan, for instance, technologically almost at the same level as US. So Japan, Russia, why are those countries not in this list? That's because in a country like Japan or Russia, the medium of instruction is English. So even though the quality of education might be comparable to the US education or European education, because of the language problem, Indian students can't go there. You can't learn Chinese or Japanese overnight, right? So yes, quality of education is one criteria, one reason why Indian students prefer to go abroad. But another important thing is that the courses in the countries that they're going to should be taught in English. Moreover, while looking for jobs also, the English should be one of the official languages. Then it makes it easier to get a job after finishing their master's degree. This is one reason why Germany, is well, it's a tricky situation. Yes, it's extremely good for mechanical engineering or automobile engineering. It's extremely good, no doubt about it. But within your 2 years of master's degree, you are expected to arrive at a decent proficiency level in German, which may not be a problem with many of you, but some people who do not have a natural inclination to learning languages, for them it might create a problem. Right? Okay, so any questions on the destinations? Anybody has any questions till now? Yes, no? I'm assuming that I am still audible to everybody. Okay, so in my earlier slide, I told you that after your bachelor's degree, you can do a master's, you can do your MBA. So, what do you think? Can you do a PhD also immediately after a bachelor's degree? So, if you are seeing a poll on your screen, can you vote? Can you do a PhD degree immediately after your bachelor's degree? Okay, so almost all of you have voted no. That's surprising. Because the answer is yes, you can. Let me elaborate. So, any of you interested in doing a PhD? Any of you interested in getting into hardcore research? So, if you are, then you can actually go for a PhD degree right after your bachelor's degree. And that is possible in the US. So, there are some distinct advantages of the US education system. Remember in my earlier slide, I said that most Indian students, they prefer going to the US, or US is the #1 destination for Indian students. So there are some distinct reasons for those. First of all, there is course flexibility. You can change majors. What that means is that, let's say that you have done your bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. So you can now shift to some other you can shift to electrical engineering if you want to for your master's degree. Or in fact, let's say you have done your BSc in physics, MSc in physics, and now you want to do masters in electrical engineering. You can do that, right? Or if, let's say you have done your BCA and MCA and now you want to do computer science. So you can shift to a master's in computer science. So this shifting is possible. So let's say that you were not able to get the major of your choice during your bachelor's degree. No problem, you can now, of course, provided you have some background in it, you can now change majors, right? So that is one huge advantage of the US education system. Moreover, you can mix and match courses, and this increases your employability. So we have many students who end up doing some engineering courses and they mix it with some business courses. So I had a student who had done a major in computer science and a minor in psychology, and he got a job in a company which designs psychometric tests for HR companies. So things like that. So you can mix and match your courses and end up getting some really interesting job options, right? So, okay, so I have a few questions. Let me take those. Simar has a question that, can I do masters in economics after BTech in computer science? Yes, Simar, you can. You can do that, right? Of course, your competition will be tough. You have to get very good GRE score, and it will help if you have some, probably if you have done some courses in economics. If you have not studied economics per se, I think in BTech you might have taken one course in economics, but you can further improve it by taking some more courses, even through platforms such as EDX or Coursera. If you take courses and make your profile stronger, you definitely can. Amit has a question, what requirements must be fulfilled directly? Okay, so Amit, I'll get there. When I get there, I'll let you know. So yes, so you can switch your majors. You can finally end up doing what you want to do. I had a student who had done electrical engineering, but for her master's degree she went into textile designing, right? Because she was always interested in that, and she was not that interested to continue in engineering. So she went for a master's degree in textile designing. So these types of permutation and combinations are possible. Okay, Avnish, your question is, what should be the minimum score in GRE to get an admission in a top 50 university? Okay, this is an extremely loaded question. It totally depends on the rest of your profile. So I'll talk about the admissions criteria later on. For the time being, just let's hold on to your question, right? Okay, now in terms of flexibility. So in India, if you do an MBA degree, or if you decide to do an MTech degree, can you complete the degree in 1 year? Mohit, I will get to that. There's one entire slide on that, so just hold on. So for the time being, can anybody answer my question? In India, can you complete your 2-year MTech degree in 1 year? The answer is no. Can you complete your 2-year master's degree in 3 years without failing? Again, the answer is no, right? But in the US, that flexibility is available. So a lot of bright students, they end up finishing their 2-year master's degree in 1 or 1.5 years. On the other hand, during the times when the economy is not good, so we had such a situation in 2011 where a lot of our students who had gone to do their masters because of the economy, it was not doing that good. So instead of completing their masters in 2 years, they kept on taking additional courses. And when the market became slightly stable towards the end of 2012, that's when they completed their master's degree. So when to end your master's degree, actually it's in the hands of the students. So they kept on taking additional courses. The advantage of that is that they were still on the student visa and they were allowed to stay. If they would have completed their master's degree in 2 years, in 2011, they would have been there without a job. The job market was really bad in the middle part of 2011. But because of the duration flexibility, they kept on taking courses, and they delayed their graduation by 1.5 years, right? And they ended up getting jobs. So so very often when you apply for a master's degree, the visa that you get it for 3 to 5 years. So you have the visa for 3 to 5 years, and the university gives you the flexibility to extend your master's to 3 years, 4 years instead of 2 years, if you want to do so. So that's a huge advantage, especially for an international student. If the economy is not doing well, you delay your graduation. You wait till the job market becomes better. Your student visa is still then applicable, right? So that's one really good thing about the US education system. Another thing is that in the US, probably all of you know that there is a fall semester. That's a semester starting in August. Then there is something called a spring semester. That is the semester that starts in January. In between these two semesters, there is a short 1.5 month semester which is called the summer semester. So this summer semester, a lot of students, and it's not mandatory for students to take courses in that semester. So the summer semester is not mandatory for international students to take courses or to even enroll in the university. So a lot of students, they come back home. So it's a good opportunity to come back home, plus they're saving the cost of living. A lot of students also end up doing internships during this summer semester. So it's up to you, right? So if you're feeling homesick, you can come home for a month, month and a half, without that impacting your master's degree at all. Or if you are able to get an internship, you can do an internship. So the summer semester, the existence of the summer semester gives some more flexibility in the duration of the master's degree. Next thing is your in academics. There is a lot of flexibility in academics as well. In your bachelor's degree, in most universities, in Indian universities or most Asian universities, I should say. So you have got semesters. You have got probably 2-3 exams in a semester, and that's about it. Maybe you have a final exam. Maybe you have some percentages internal and some percentages external, whatever it is. But in the US, that's not the case. In the US, there's a process of continuous evaluation. There is no concept of having 3-hour-long exams. So the classes run for 45 minutes. So the exams are also for 45 minutes. And the grading system is very, very flexible. For instance, probably 5% of your grade will go towards your attendance, 5% for your class involvement in class discussions. There will be 1 or 2 mini projects in each course, so you get some percentage of the grade from there. So then because it's a continuous evaluation process, you actually end up learning more. How many of you here are engineers? How many of you are like BTech or BE students? How many of you are studying engineering? Okay. So I see some people from engineering. Okay. So I am also an engineer, by the way. So, and I think you will agree with me that most engineers, we probably study towards only when it's like close to the exam. And if we come to know that not many questions come from the chapter, we tend to skip studying that chapter, right? Do you agree with me? I am also an engineer, and that's what I used to do. That I used to study only when it's like very close to the exam, and if a chapter is not that important, I used to skip it, and still end up with good grades, of course. So in this process, I'm not sure how much I actually was able to learn during my bachelor's degree, right? I'm not actually sure how much I learned about the concepts or how much I was able to learn about the applications of whatever I studied, right? On the other hand, in the US, I did my master's in the US, so I can actually compare, myself, forget everything else. I can compare, my own learning. So in the US, in my 1.5 years of master's, I actually ended up learning far more, than I learned in the 4 years of my bachelor's degree. And the interesting part is that it was not actually even difficult because of the process of continuous evaluation. There is homework, there are assignments for every class. So it's like almost like back to school. In school we used to get homework or assignments after every class. So in the US also in the master's level is the same thing, that you get assignments after every class and you have to submit into the next class. Some portion of the grades go towards your overall grade. And because of this, because you study a little bit every day, you're forced to study a little bit every day, you end up learning more and your grades also end up becoming far higher. So because of this continuous evaluation process, the learning overall in the US education system, I personally felt that I learned far more during, even compared to the 4 years of my bachelor's degree. Moreover, the learning there is very practical oriented. The questions are not like something that you memorize and you write. It's more application oriented. So you will be given real life problems. There are some exams where the question paper is given to you and you are given 1 week to solve it. So you can take it home, you can go to the library, you can consult your friends, you can do whatever you want to. So if they're practical oriented, there's no question of copying or cheating or anything, because you will not find that question anywhere. You just have to apply whatever you learn, refer whatever reference material you want to, So a lot of practical learning, and there's also an option about earning credits, or that is like course credits through internships also. So if you do an internship during the summer semester, so that can, in some universities, that can also be counted as a course, right? So that goes towards meeting your requirement to complete your master's degree. And as I said earlier, you have the option of continuing on to your PhD. That means right after your bachelor's degree, if you have a really good, if you have really strong academics, of course, if your academics are not good, if you are not in the top, top 5 or top 10 in your class, then it will not be possible. But if you are a good student, and so if you have done good research, so you have the option of continuing directly for PhD. You do not have to do a master's in between. And what's the advantage of doing a PhD? Well, in the US, all PhDs are fully funded. So you do not have to spend money on your education, right? So the PhD, you get 100% scholarship. So if you have got good enough academic grades, you should be applying directly for a PhD. I mean, in some universities you can apply for PhD. In some universities you apply for masters. If you get admission for a PhD program, then you can just go on with it, because for PhD you get 100% scholarship, right? Okay. I think that I had seen a question related to that. Amit, I think. So Amit, I hope that answers your question. Now, all of you have been doing your bachelor's degree in a university, I'll just give you an example. A lot of you are from Delhi and North, so let me pick an example from there. You have heard about the university, right? MET University in Noida. Some of you are from Noida. In North India, we have this university called MET University, which is, so let's say you go get admission in MET University for your bachelor's degree, okay? And you do very extremely well in your first year or first semester. Can you take a transfer to IIT Delhi or NSIT or a better university? Can you do that? No, right? It's like something you probably not even imaginable in, right? Something like that. But in the US, that's a possibility. For some reason, let's say you do not get a very good GRE score, or for whatever reason, let's say you do not get admission in a top university for your master's degree. But if you do very well in your first semester, extremely well, you get a 4 out of 4 GPA, you have got research papers, if you do extremely well, you can take a transfer to a better university and complete the remaining part of your master's degree from there, right? Lot of students, they also, what they do is that once they go to the US, they feel that the expenses are going too high, they are not able to manage the expenses. So they also take transfer to cheaper universities, right? So this flexibility of transferring to universities, transferring to other universities, that is a huge advantage. You can either end up going to a better university or a cheaper university as well. Okay. So any questions till now? So the US education is all about flexibility. All these things that we talked about, one underlying thing is the flexibility. So of course, this is the reason, obviously, why most Indian students they prefer to go to the US for their higher education. So any questions? Anybody? No. Okay. So moving on. Now, course options. What can you study? Right? Whatever you are doing, masters in that, a simple no-brainer. If you are doing computer science now, you can do your masters in computer science. If you are doing mechanical engineering, you can do your masters in mechanical engineering. So that's a simple thing. There are also some degrees for which there are no bachelor degrees. So these degrees, anybody with science background, engineering or science background can apply. MS Computational Finance, MS Financial Engineering, MS Engineering Management, MIS, MS Business Analytics, MS Biomedical Engineering, and there are some more. There are a lot of these actually. MS Energy Engineering, MS Product Design, so MS Manufacturing Engineering. So these are all in between programs. These are programs for which there are no bachelor's degrees. Anybody with science background can apply. So these degrees also sometimes help you, switch from your core, whatever you are doing. Let's say you don't want to continue doing that, so you can shift, your domain while staying in the industry, engineering industry itself, right? Have you, all of you had heard about these courses? Okay, so some of you have heard about the courses. So for those of you who have not heard, so these are some options that you are eligible to apply to. All of you, anybody with engineering and science background, you guys are eligible to apply for it, right? So you don't need anything special. So you should consider, you should definitely consider if you want to. There are a lot more actually. These are just the most popular ones. There are a lot more. There are MS Risk Assessment, MS Operations Research. There are a lot of these type of master's programs which are not related to any hardcore engineering field that you guys are studying, but they're still related to. They still take in engineering graduates. Okay. So are you guys subscribed to our newsletter? So in our newsletter, every newsletter we talk about this kind of like a new master's program, right? So Anurag, you are subscribed to our newsletter, so you might probably be getting the information, right? So okay, so MIS is called Management Information Systems. So let me give you an example. So this is basically related to the practical application of computer science. All of you have booked, some of you probably have booked railway tickets, or at least booked movie tickets using Book My Show, right? You guys, or bought something from Flipkart. So you have done that probably. Let's say you are here. So now when somebody is booking a ticket from using the IRCTC website, a train ticket, or a flight ticket. So live you can see what are the seats available. The moment you pick them, it starts becoming visible to others. So the live, whatever the all data management that's going on, so that is MIS. So in MIS has far huger usage in the industry. Like we in Jamboree, we use MIS a lot. We have a central data management system. So we know at the click of a button, we know how many students we have, how many students has enrolled, which student has paid what fees, what books has been assigned to that student, has the student logged into his online testing platform, how many tests he has taken. The entire data of every student in every Jamboree center I can view sitting on my laptop. That's it. So the MIS enables you to do that, right? So it's basically the practical application of computer science. So is it clear, MIS? I think some of you wanted to know what MIS is. Now MS Engineering Management is very, very different from MIS. MS Engineering Management is okay. So these manufacturing companies that make computers or cars or motorcycles or refrigerators, these manufacturing companies, So they have these manufacturing plants or factories. So to manage these manufacturing processes or to manage these manufacturing plants and factories, they need managers. But the managers, they cannot be random MBAs, okay, because they will have no engineering knowledge at all. So they prefer to hire engineering management graduates. So who manage their plants, their factories, whatever, but who have an engineering background, who can do, you might have heard about Six Sigma certification and all of that, all these, process control and quality control processes. How many of you have heard about Six Sigma? Right? So these are all process control, things. So that is what is being taught in MS Engineering Management. So if you go and do an MS engineering management, you will get a job at the manager level in manufacturing units. It can be manufacturing any kind of thing, you know. So, and let's say you work in that profile for 3-4 years, you have a good managerial profile, and if you decide to apply for an MBA later on after 3-4 years, I mean, you have got an extremely strong profile, and you can crack into even the top 3-4 MBA colleges, right? So that's how that's the profile enhancement that an MS Engineering Management does for you, right? Any other questions? Then there is direct MBA. You can right after bachelor's degree you can go for an MBA. MIM is called Masters in International Management. It is on the management side, but not directly an MBA. Then of course, as I already said, you can do a PhD. And there are a lot more such courses. If you have not subscribed to our newsletter yet, please do so. Those of you who are subscribed to our newsletter, you will know that I mean in every newsletter we talk about some new course option, right? I think Anurag, right? So Anurag, you say that you are subscribed to our newsletter, right? So if you have, so you will probably understand what I'm saying. So rest of you can just go to Jamboree India website and subscribe to our newsletter. You can you keep getting information about all these kind of courses. What are some the university programs that the universities that offer these programs, and what are the eligibility criteria and all such information you keep getting. Any questions? Let me try and see if I can get you one link. Yes, Mohak, I had seen this question earlier also. I will get to it, don't worry. Okay, so this is a website. If you scroll down towards the end, you will see on your right hand side, you will see a subscribe to newsletter, so you can do that. Okay. So these are some MBA programs that you can go for, directly after your bachelor's degree. Harvard, they have a special program called 2+2 MBA. So this is for freshers. So you have to apply in your 3rd year or 4th year of engineering. So then there is a Yale Silver Scholar MBA program. So these are all top colleges. Everybody knows Harvard, Yale, Chicago, Stanford, Kelly. All of you know these universities. They are top universities. Wharton, Tepper. So again, there are some colleges, but the list is quite long. So for people who are looking to go to do an MBA degree right after bachelor's degree, there are some really good universities that you can apply to. Of course, the average colleges are also there. So I mean, if you have not heard about these MBA programs, so these are the names. You can note these down, and you can research on your own as well. Okay, Pragya, your question is, what is the scope of doing MS MBA after graduation in getting jobs or respective fields compared to doing MTech MBA? Compared to doing MTech MBA in India. Okay, so that's not comparable. Depends on, see, if you want to do an MBA in India itself, then you don't actually have to do an MTech at all. In India, they offer all the IIMs, work experience is not a criteria at all. You can just directly do an MBA. In the US, most top colleges, they prefer some work experience. However, a lot of top colleges nowadays, they have also started taking freshers, right? So, if you want to do your MS and then do an MBA, so that is also possible, right? Okay? Any questions in now? Okay, so I think I am getting questions about admissions criteria, so let me go to the admissions criteria. So Mohak and Avnish and some of you have been asking about the admissions criteria, so let me go to those. So you need to take a standardized test, GRE or GMAT, GRE for Masters and PhD and GMAT for MBA, depending on what you want to do. So if you want to do MBA, MIM, management related courses, you need to take GMAT. If you want to do MS and PhD, you will need to take the GRE. And you will also need to take the language test, right? So this is mandatory. You are international, you are an Indian citizen, or even if you are like a citizen from Nepal or whatever. So if you are a citizen from a country whose native language is not English, you will need to take either the TOEFL or IELTS, right? In addition to the GRE, GMAT, of course. Now, what's the importance of the GRE or GMAT? The importance of the GRE or GMAT is that it is the only standardized component in your application. Right? Everything else is subjective. Your academic record, even within India, somebody from, let's say, Delhi University will have different types of scores than somebody from Pune University. So they are not directly comparable. You cannot say that 60% of Pune University is equivalent to 60% of Delhi University. So you cannot say that, right? So they are not, the scores are not standardized. Everything else is also not standardized and not directly comparable. Only thing that on your application that is directly comparable to other applicants to the university is the GRE or GMAT score. That is why it's extremely important to get a good score. This is the only standardized component in your application. Moreover, a lot of universities use a GRE or GMAT score as the first level of elimination, right? So, I mean, it's extremely important to get a good GRE or GMAT score. Next criteria is the academic record. The academic record means just a bachelor's degree grades, not your 10th and 11th marks. The universities do not care about your 10th and 11th marks. So whatever you have got in your bachelor's degree till now. So if you are in your third year and you will be applying when you are in your fourth year, so your marks till your 6th semester or 7th semester, whatever you have got till then, that will be counted, right? The average, of course. So, so that is the second thing. Now, good news is that these two things are viewed together by universities. So, the GMAT GRE score and the academic record together gives an indication to the university about how good a student you are. So, I mean, your academic record is something you cannot change. Whatever it is, it is. You cannot improve and go back and improve, or you cannot do much about it. Whatever it is, it is. However, the GRE or GMAT, you can take it multiple times and get as high a score as you want to. You can take it maximum 5 times a year, and the scores are valid for 5 years. So you can actually try to get a good GRE GMAT score, and very often that that is able to lessen the impact of a poor academic record. Extracurricular, if you are applying for MBA and MIM, that is like the management related programs, then extracurricular activities are very important. However, if you are applying for MS and PhD degree, then the extracurricular activities are not that important. Mainly because MS and PhD, they are academic degrees, right? You have to study, they are academic degrees. So even if your extracurricular activities are not good, it's fine. It's not going to lead to a rejection. Yes, Ankush, the score is valid for 5 years for both GRE and GMAT. Now, research work. This is the most important criteria for MS and PhD. Now, what do you mean by research work? So, it can mean your industrial training, in engineering, final year, everybody does a project. So that also comes under research work. For working professionals, if you have published any white papers or if you have done any kind of projects, etc., they can be presented as research work. If you have by chance, if you have like published anything, if you have any publication, that's extremely good. If you have any publication in even the national journals, it's extremely good. So having publication is really good. Even if you don't have it, then you can present your project work, industrial training, etc. as research work. So this is the most important criteria while applying for MS and PhD. Everything else stops mattering if this is extremely good. Right? We have had students who have got admission in universities such as UC Berkeley or Stanford with poor average academic records and poor GRE scores, but they have got admission mainly because their research work was really good with lots of publications, lots of published papers. Letters of recommendation. So for MBA you will need 2 letters of recommendation. For Masters you need 3 letters of recommendation. So letters of recommendation is another admissions criteria. Then essays or SOPs. So these 2 are components of the online application of universities. They vary from university to university. So once you have decided which universities to apply to, that's when the letters of recommendation, essays, SOPs, they will come into the picture. Right? In some cases, interviews also. So for MBA, interviews is mandatory. For some MS and PhD programs, nowadays they ask for interviews. These interviews are held by universities either through Skype or in person. Right? So overall, these are your admissions criteria. Anybody has any questions? Any questions now? So Anurag, your question is, does work experience help? If yes, then how many years in case of masters? Right. Okay, so Anurag, if you are applying for degrees such as masters in engineering management, masters in business analytics, in those cases work experience definitely helps. But if you are applying for MS Computer Science, MS Mechanical Engineering, then it does not help that much. Dharanjay, your question is, can I apply for MS and MBA at the same university? No, you can't. There are some universities which offer dual degree, it is MS/MBA, dual degree. There you can, but you cannot apply for MS in a different program and then MBA. That you can't do. But there are some universities which offer MS/MBA dual degree program, so there you can apply. Mohit, today's session was not for the financial aspect. Today's session was mainly for what kind of options are available out there. So we will probably have another session 2 weeks from now, where we will be discussing the scholarship options and financial aspects and all of that. Any other questions? Simar, your question is, offers from Trinity College Dublin and University College Dublin. Should I apply there or prepare for US Canada? Simar, you follow the news as much as I do, I think. Not a good idea to go to UK right now, so I would say that just apply for US Canada. I mean, if you do not want to take the GRE, then then you can apply to Canada. If you want to make some effort and like take the GRE, then look at US as well. Ishan, your question is, can you discuss the scope of GMAT in India, like which institute accept GMAT score? Right. So in India, the GMAT is gaining popularity. So you have got I'm assuming that you, Ishan, I'm assuming that you have less than 5 years of work experience. So people like you, using the GMAT score, you can apply to universities such as ISB, SPGen, Great Lakes. So these are some universities that you can apply. SPGen, Singapore, Dubai campus also you can apply with the GMAT score. Ankush, again, for MS work experience is not required. It's not required, but it depends on what kind of MS degree you are going to go for. So, okay, so you mean MIS. Okay, so for MIS, 1 to 2 years help. Avnish, if you are applying for master's degrees, MS or PhD degrees, then you will need 3 letters of recommendation. So, if you have done 2 projects, then you should take it from your 2 project guides. If you have taken only done only one project, then you should take it from your project guide is like absolutely mandatory. So next, you should take it from the professor who taught you the subject in which you want to specialize. For example, let's say you have done bachelor's in computer science. Now you want to, in your master's degree, you want to specialize in embedded systems. Let's say, so take it from the professor. Take one from the professor who taught you embedded systems, provided, of course, that you have like scored well in that, that subject. The third can also be from any other teacher in whose subject you have scored really high, but directly engineering related courses, not somebody who taught you economics or English. Okay, Avnish, does that help? Okay, right. Right, so those of you who have not like started your GRE or GMAT, or those of you who are still in the thinking process, just try out some questions. We have a diagnostic test here. Just copy the link, So you can just, this is a free test. You don't have to do anything. Just see where you stand, what type of questions are there, etc. It's just fun, it's not a big test anyway. Those of you who are seriously preparing for GRE, so we have a free vocabulary app on Play Store. So it's called the Simplified GRE Vocabulary. You just type Jamboree GRE Vocabulary, you will get the app. It's a really fun, game-oriented app, and it's completely free. Even the diagnostic test is also completely free. There are some stuff that you can use. Okay, good, Avnish. So it's good to know that you use it and you like it. That's good. So it's kind of addictive because it has a lot of, you can make your own quizzes and stuff. So it's kind of it's really I find it very addictive actually, the app. So rest of you can just probably take a screenshot or something, and you can use use this information. Avnish, minimum GRE score, that's a very tricky question to answer. Just right now I discussed the entire admissions criteria, right? So it's not only the GRE score, but if you are, one thing is there though, if your maths, if your score in the quantitative section is less than less than 160, then it becomes extremely difficult to get admission in a top 50 college. That is for sure. Everything else, there's no cutoff as such. No? It will depend on your rest of the profile. The only thing is that to get into a top 50 university for an engineering or science program, you need to have at least a 160 in your math score out of 170. So does that help, Avnish? Okay. So anything else? Anybody? Any questions? Okay, so if you think of any question later on,